Hi everybody, welcome to LNP Renewable System Integrators. Today we're going to see the basic overview of a floating solar power plant. So before entering into the topic now, let us ask some of the questions to ourselves. What is a floating solar power plant? Where will, okay, I can see this, how it looks like, what are the benefits of the floating solar power plant, what are the important basics about the floating solar power plant, and what are the tests being performed for the floats used in the floating solar power plant, and what are the essential reports we need to collect before starting any floating solar power projects, and what are the various checklists for the floating solar design, and what are the different stages in the floating solar power plant, how the safety labeling is done, how the protection is made for the floating solar plants using the surge protection, grounding, and the different testing methods, and what are the different sensors used for the meteorological stations of the float panel. Okay, so what is a floating solar power plant? It involves installing the solar panels on the floating structures on a body of a water such as lakes, oceans, and also hydropower reservoirs. So where we will use this? So we will use this in lakes, oceans, hydropower plants. Okay, where we want to during the summer times, summer seasons, we need to protect the water bodies from the sun to protect it from the evaporating. We can use this, and one thing, we may now seeing this floating solars in the normal areas, but you know more than 25 megawatt is being installed in India, in Andhra Pradesh, NTPC Simhadir Hadri. Okay, over the area of around 100 acres, it is being installed by the Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited. This is one of this photo. Okay, how it looks like. This is how it looks like. This is one of the top views and the photos of the different projects which is done. So as we told earlier, in order to make this PV modules to float inside the water, we can use the floating pipes. Okay, so above that metal structures will be installed, and we can use pure plastics like hydrolo air. Okay, to make it to float, and also we can use individual floats with the metal structures also. So we are trying to know something new. Okay, so we should also know the benefits of the floating solar. So we can categorize into three different categories. One is environmental benefit, social benefit, and the economical benefit. So if you look into the environmental benefits, it minimizes the water evaporation during the summer seasons, it conserves the water, okay, and it improves the water quality uh, to reduce the algal blooms. What are the social benefits? So it creates a recreational activity. Okay, it will create a positive aesthetics near the water bodies, and we are preserving the valuable land and the water for the agricultural users. And what are the economic benefits? It converts unused space into profitable area. Okay, it smoothens and fastens the developmental processes. It enhances the electricity generation as well. So now let's try to know the basics of floating solar power plant. So if we look into this picture, some of the things are common. This combiner box, inverter, transformer, and transmission line and arrays. All these things are common. Okay, but something new is there. Floats, anchors, mooring lines, lightning protection. Okay, so now let us try to know try to know about each and every components. So as I told earlier, this is the floats. For floating purpose of the PV models, we are using the floating pipes and the metal structures. We can use a pure plastic floats, and this is the individual floats. So this is one of the plastic float model, Hydrolo Air. It has three different configurations. One is a single row type, two in a row type, and four in a row type. Okay. So before using those floats in the floating bodies, we need to perform some of the tests. What are the tests? One is wind tunnel test, tensile strength test, bending fatigue test, material composition test, temperature and the UV accelerator test, polymetric material test, fire resistant test, drinking water compatibility test, corrosion resistivity test, buoyance or the puncture test. All these tests we have to perform before installing any sort of floats inside the. As we told earlier, this is a anchor. So this is some of the photos of the concrete sinkers with the buoy, and this is a helical anchors which is being installed near the water bodies in the land area. Okay. So as we told earlier, between the anchors and the floats, okay, there is a mooring line. Okay, this is a mooring component. It is one of the elastic type, because owing to the buoyancy, sometimes owing to the waves, it will make the float to move up and down. In such occasion, if it is too much strong, there is a possibility for the breakages. So to avoid such occasions, this mooring component is made with the spring and elastic type, so that when there is any buoyancy, when there is any movement owing to the wind, it will move and come back to the original position. And as we told earlier, there is a solar lighting protection we can provide. So we are using two different methods. One is rolling spear radius method and the protective angle method for the solar lighting protections. So we already saw in the previous slides that concrete sinkers are being used. We might have a doubt how they will put these concrete sinkers inside the water bodies. So for that one, they are using the barge. Okay. Apart from this test reports, testing methods, we need to have reports as well. So we need to know the topography, and we need to know the ground soil composition of this water bodies, and we should know the maximum depth of the water body, and we should know the flow movements, and we should do the Bateman-II test, and we should also know the maximum wind speed, and at what height the waves will come, and what are the water level variations. Apart from it, these are the normal checklist which is being used for the float solar plant designs. One is floating and the mounting structure checklist. In that one, we need to check whether it is easy for O&M activities, whether it has a proper warranty or not. Apart for the anchoring and the mooring system, we need to have a checklist. In that one, we can check whether through the proper method it is being done or not. For that one, we need to have a quality checklist, and we need to check whether it is designed for the extreme events. Okay, and also most importantly, we need to have an inspection maintenance schedule, and also associated costs with it. Okay, apart from it, we should have a checklist for the PV modules, inverters, transformers, connectors. We should have a supplier track record, and if any customized design is being made, we should know about it, and proper drawings we should have, and also we should have a IP protections. Since we are using it in the water bodies, it should be IP66 rated. Okay, and apart from it, we need to have a checklist for the engineering design. Whether what should be the tilt. Okay, we should have a data of the tilt. What should be the row spacing we are providing for the floating platforms, and we need to know the AC/DC ratio of the inverters, whether it is being properly sized or not, and proper cables have been used, and proper procedures has been followed, quality procedures has been followed or not. All these things we have to check. Next, if you go into the procurement and the construction activities, we should have the proper permits. Okay, and we should have a detailed design for with all the drawings prior to the construction, and we need to establish the milestones. Okay, and we need to ensure proper cable management has procedures have been followed or not. And last but not least, we should do the as-built drawing updations. So next, if you look at the operation, the maintenance checklist, we need to have a time schedule to do checking for all the components that we are using. Sometimes soiling or biofueling is being made by the animals like birds, and water animals which are being inside the water. Sometimes you will do the biofueling. So to protect that, we need to have a inspection often. Okay, and most importantly, if any damage being caused by the animals inside the water bodies, we should know whether it is being covered inside the warranty or not, and whether we have the proper spare parts or not. We have to check. So as we told earlier, there are different stages in the floating solar. One is we need to first identify the site, and we need to do the feasibility study, and we need to go for the financial and the contract, and we need to have a detailed design. Next, we have to go for the construction and the commissioning activities. So once everything is done, we have to check whether labeling is done properly or not. But too, for the safety purpose, it is very much important. We should comply the IEC standards of 62446, and we need to ensure that proper protection is being done for the plant. Like we can do the electrical measurements for the DC subsystems, like continuity of the grounding and the equipotential bonding. We can go for polarity test, whether proper polarity is being connected or not, and we can do the short circuit and open circuit voltage tests, voltage and the current test. And we can go for insulation resistant test. Yeah, and in the overcurrent protection devices, we need to check whether proper fuses are there or not. These are some of the example such protection devices which is being installed inside the DC cabinets, and this is an example of the equipotential bonding, and a solar professional is performing a continuity test. This is an example for the grounding, and in the DC distribution boards, we need to check whether the proper fuses are there or not, and the grounding cables are being connected with the marking or not, and it should be labeled properly, and it should be routed and terminated neatly. So these are the indications. Proper indication should be there for the AC isolators. So as we told earlier, since we are doing so many tests and we are collecting so many reports for the maintenance purpose also, we need to have sensors to check the wind speed, to check the temperature. We need a temperature sensor, and to check the humidity, we need a humidity sensor, and for the wind direction also we need sensors. So these are all the sensors will be present in the meteorological stations of the floating panel power plants. So thank you so much. Thank you for listening to us. Please subscribe by pressing the subscribe button, and please press the bell icon for any inquiries related to design, installation, testing, and commissioning of solar power projects. Feel free to contact us, and if you want us to make a to talk on any new topics, feel free to contact us. Please give in the comment. Thank you.